Where does Florida's job rank in the country? We're mostly going to discuss where does it rank among open jobs or ones that we think are going to open, like LSU, like Auburn, probably FSU as well. And then you got Penn State that's already open in Arkansas. So we're going to mostly rank it there, but we're also going to try to figure out our own opinions where nationally it ranks among all jobs. But obviously the LSU one right now is what all the media is talking about. Something I feel like as well that's kind of a little bit under the radar, Scott Woodward. I feel like going into this year, everyone I talked to was calling him like the best athletic director in the country. He's now about to have, we'll see what happens with FSU. But I think BK is going to be fired before Mike Norvell is. But he's about to have the two largest buyouts in college football coaching history, where he hired and fired Jimbo, and now he's about to hire and fire Brian Kelly. He also failed their.
Can I push back on that real quick? Because So he hired Jimbo. He didn't fire Jimbo, and he also didn't give Jimbo that extension. He had already left for LSU. Ross Bjork is the one who extended Jimbo and then later fired him. So he made the initial decision to hire Jimbo, but didn't give him the contract that was a $65 million buyout with no duty to mitigate or whatever. Just to be clear.
So maybe I heard differently that he was the one who fired Jimbo and then left for LSU.
Because he hired Brian.
Oh no, those timelines wouldn't match. Yeah. Or I heard that he gave him the extension, whatever. But he hired Jimbo, and what was Jimbo? I mean, it's whatever. The hire failed at both places now. So and now the basketball hire, Matt McMahon. Their basketball hire with Matt McMahon, it's like that LSU program was in a really bad place after Will Wade and all the sanctions and whatnot that happened with LSU.
They made the tourney last year.
What?
They made the tourney, Will Wade's last year.
Yeah, but what happened after Will Wade? Like, everyone was gone because of all the sanctions.
There's more because Will Wade was gone, to be perfectly honest with you. Because they didn't really face a lot of, like, super bad punishment from the NCAA.
If I remember correctly, he returned one scholarship player.
Yeah, he did.
So he basically had to build that whole roster. But yeah, it seems like it's going to fail. I mean, they're probably not going to make the tourney this year, and he'll probably be fired after this season. But no, it's kind of like the cheaper or more expensive Scott Strickland, in the fact that Scott Strickland, has messed up so many football hires, but he got the basketball hire right, just like LSU Jay Johnson, where Woodward got the baseball hire extremely correct. So he gets that little nugget there.
It sounds like Woodward is maybe in a little bit of trouble here too, from some things I've read tonight. Especially, they've got some leadership. They're in a very similar situation to Florida, where they don't have a permanent president right now. They're looking for.
Yes.
They need to make that hire. Now it sounds like the governor, who is kind of, I guess I'll just say, stepped in it a couple times when it comes to football related things in Louisiana. It sounds like he's very heavily involved in that. So that if he steps in, and they might make a move from Woodward too. Woodward's whole thing at both A&M and LSU, like, he hires whales. That's always been his thing. He hired Buzz Williams. He hired Jimbo Fisher. He hired Kim Mulkey. He hired Jay Johnson. He hired Brian Kelly, obviously. So, like, his whole thing has been home run swings and pretty hit or miss on, obviously, the Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson ones panned out. But, the Buzz Williams didn't exactly pan out. And then obviously Jimbo and Brian Kelly definitely did not pan out. So,
yeah. Let me address some comments here. So, a Mississippi State fan, what was Florida outside of Spurrier and Meyer LSU won consistent over the past 50 years?
That's not true, man. Go look at LSU in the 80s and 90s. LSU didn't win anything for a really long time before Nick Saban got there.
Yeah. And then, I don't like LSU. That never works. That argument, like, I don't even like them. Like, that argument just is not a very sound argument to make. I also don't like LSU. No, because, like, to even consider that LSU and Florida are the same is crazy. Like, it's just not. I mean, we're very similar programs. They just have one more natty than us. They have 4, right?
What were their nat? They won 03,
07,
07, 19. Am I missing one?
I think they had one before the year 2000.
If they did, it was like a long time ago. Like, it was like it was in an irrelevant time period.
58.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, okay. Minnesota won like national titles in 1912. I don't really care, to be perfectly honest with you. Same amount since 2000. I mean, their most recent one is more recent. One more
since 2000.
Oh, sorry. Same amount since 1996. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. But and we're very inconsistent programs. Because remember, before they fired Brian Kelly, they had back-to-back. Did they go 500 in 22 or 21?
Yeah, they had like a 5-5 in 2020, and then like a 7-6 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were 500 program until they got BK back. Before Coach O, they won 8 games when he was the interim, right? And then they won 9-3 in his first season because they had the A&M game. So I'm pretty sure they went 9-3. I'm pretty sure I'm right there. So
that sounds about right.
And then Miles, of course, got fired for they were consistently winning more than 8 games, but they weren't getting above 10. And comparative, we're winning 10 games in the East at the time with Dan Mullen or Jim McElwain. That's pretty similar levels there, and playing close football games with LSU at the same time. So, Harvard, Yale, and Army have a rich history too.
Yeah.
So I think Florida and LSU are very similar job ranks, but I think the main thing we're comparing them here, what job does Lane Kiffin want more? And from what I've heard, I don't think LSU is as big as a threat as everyone's going to make it seem.
I kind of agree. I really don't I think LSU and Florida are very similar jobs. I think I think whether you prefer one or the other, I think could really depend on the specific candidate. But I think with Lane, I mean, we know he has more ties to Florida and the school, the state of Florida and the school itself. Pretty much no ties to LSU at all, as far as I can tell. I mean, I really think the battle here is not LSU. I think the battle is, will he leave Ole Miss? I think if he's leaving Ole Miss, he'll leave for Florida. But I think it's very much a question whether he would do that. I also saw something I don't want to. I can't remember if it was On 3 or 247. I think it was one of their guys say something like there's some talk that LSU might reverse course and not try to give as big of a contract this time. And so it sounds like the roles might reverse, where they're going for the younger up and coming guy, and Florida's big game hunting this time is kind of.
I've heard a bunch about Summerall.
Yeah, I mean, that would make a ton of sense if that's the kind of hire. Because I mean, I think, to be frank, I think John Summerall is a very similar candidate to Billy, but I think, especially with the power of hindsight, checks a lot of boxes that I don't necessarily think Billy did.
Yeah, I mean, from Louisiana as well, so he's going to have great ties to the state. So, or coaching at Tulane.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's from Louisiana.
He's a Kentucky guy.
Kentucky, so it's still enough
from
close
there,
enough
there.
SEC territory. So,
coached at Troy previously too, so he knows the whole Gulf area.
Was he the one who beat them?
No, he was not there yet. That was Neil Brown. I'm almost positive he was not.
Oh wow,
he was not there.
Neil Brown. He's the one who went. He's at West Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when he had Troy rolling for a bit before he took that job.
Never say never, especially with LSU, because Scott Woodward, if he's still the AD and making this hire, I feel like anything can happen with LSU. It's not going to. I think LSU has a higher chance of getting Dan Lanning than Florida does.
I think that's fair.
But I don't think that's going to happen. But it's also, Brian Kelly hasn't officially been fired yet, so it's hard to put 2 and 2 together at this point.
And I would say, when you see things like ahead of a bye, they're sending assistants home, which is, I think, what Pete Nako said, that the position coaches who were at the facility today were told to go home. And when you hear that, you kind of think it's imminent. But it wouldn't really surprise me if they waited a little bit here. I mean, it sounds like he has some duty to mitigate and offsetting language and stuff like that. So I don't know if the finances of that buyout are going to be prohibitive here. I kind of doubt they will be. But yeah, I mean, I'd say that looks like it's trending towards opening. I mean, to be honest, I think what would suck way more for Florida is if the Sark to the NFL stuff is true and you're competing in the market with Texas too. I think that would really just be the worst.
I don't know if Lane would go to Texas. I mean,
I didn't even really mean to be honest, like the thing I think that's bad about LSU and or Texas opening is not really Lane. It's what happens if Lane says no, because then if Lane says no, then you probably are competing with a similar pool of secondary candidates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like then all of a sudden Drinkwitz and Braum and Clark Lee and Key, all these guys are in play at probably all of these jobs. So
I don't think Braum is, but I get this. I get what you mean. I get what you
mean. You know what I'm saying? Like it then becomes way more competitive for those second level candidates.
Yeah, I don't think Texas opens because I mean they even came out and said that the NFL stuff was false. I don't think the NFL will take Sark for one.
I'm not arguing with that.
I don't think you can fire Sark.
A statement from Jimmy Sexton, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Like I don't think you can fire Sark. I mean they're still gonna. I mean what's Texas floor at this moment? I mean they're 5-2, right? Or are they 6-2?
They're 6-2.
Like obviously it was not pretty last night. I mean the fact that they won that game, but like, I mean they could. I mean they theoretically could lose out and finish 6-6.
I mean they got Vandy.
Schedule.
Who do they have? Georgia. Vandy, A&M, Georgia. Yeah, dude.
And Arkansas.
Ooh.
Like they could.
Yeah.
They'll probably win one of those. So like 7. They made back-to-back semifinals. Like you can't fire him for one bad.
Oh, he's not getting fired.
Or
one
mediocre
fired this year. No chance he's.
I don't think that job opens up, and Texas obviously would be about it. People have said it. A bunch of different podcasters have said it. It's not necessarily what job's a better job. Like Texas is a better job than Florida and LSU. That's not even a question at this point.
Texas is the best job in the country, in my opinion.
I think Ohio State is.
I think it's Ohio
State.
I think those are 1 and 2. I think those are 1 and 2, and you could argue either way.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you can argue either way. But no.
I mean, they have more money
Texas
than
would
God.
be the best job. Yeah, but Ohio State also has a lot of money. Plus, they're maybe the biggest. Or is Ohio State the biggest brand, or is it Texas? I feel like Ohio State's the biggest brand.
I think Ohio State might be like the biggest because Ohio State is just everywhere. Like Ohio State has such a massive alumni base that's all over the place.
Yeah, but let's not get. I'm trying not to get off track anymore. But
yeah,
it's not necessarily what's the better job. It's what's better. It's what does a coach think's the better job, and that values how good of a job it is from acquiring talent. Like that's one thing you compare with the LSU and Florida job. Now, I think when you're comparing the ceiling, both of them have a very similar ceiling, but Florida's is, by technicality, probably a little better than LSU's. Well, again, I say the LSU's floor is going to be higher than Florida's is. So it's like, you're comparing decimals at that point, to get mathematical there. But what was I just getting at? What was I getting at?
Just talking about how like it depends on the coach.
Yeah, that's right. The coach. Okay, yeah. So it's like, how much does that matter? It's really just gonna be the coach, because obviously LSU is also a better job than Ole Miss. I don't think Lane would leave Ole Miss for LSU, because you also have to factor in the coach's own opinions. You have to factor in his family, what he thinks of. Does he want to leave for that job? I mean, LSU is Ole Miss's second biggest rival, and I know he really respects Ole Miss and he loves Ole Miss, and I don't know if he would leave for their second biggest rival. Like it's not impossible, and crazier has happened, but like I don't think Lane would want to do that to Ole Miss. Like leaving for Florida is like, oh, you're leaving for another SEC school, a better job in the same conference, but like we don't have history with Ole Miss like that. We're not rivals. I mean, they beat us with Tebow and gave us the promise, but like, and we do have a connection with Mike White, so
there you go. I mean, I think I think that's really the key. Like, I think even when you talk about a job like Penn State, I think Florida's a better job than Penn State. I don't know if you asked Marcus Freeman or Matt Campbell or Matt Rule, like if you asked a guy like that, what's the better job, they might prefer Penn State because those are guys, those are either Midwestern or Northerner guys. Like they have more ties to that area, to the Big Ten footprint. Living in Florida might not be appeal. I mean, like Luke Fickell had never coached like outside the state of Ohio before he took the Wisconsin job. I don't think he'd be super keen to go take an SEC job. Not that he's a candidate right now, but I'm just like an example of like, so I think it really does just depend on the coach, especially now that, the playing field has been even. I know a lot of Ole Miss people keep trying to bring up the point that it's leveled to an extent where there's really no discernible difference between one SEC job and another. I don't agree with that, but I do think, the differences between, an LSU and a Florida and a Penn State, they're really all the same job functionally. They're all big, big fan bases, a lot of support, a lot of money, a lot of resources. And ultimately, if you have that, you can win. So these are all jobs where you can win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, getting to the point, it's more even out. I mean, just look at the top 10 right now. Vandy, Indiana, Georgia Tech, BYU's in the top 10 now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're undefeated.
They are. It's like, now,
they're one of only 2-8-0 teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Are these programs legitimately going to win the Natty? I think Indiana, it's tough to say. I don't think Vandy, Georgia Tech, or there's one other school I named, BYU. I don't think any of them are winning the Natty.
No.
Indiana's interesting because what they did against Oregon, but like realistically, I mean, Kirsten Daniels might genuinely be the best coach in college football right now. So, but realistically, like, you have a better chance of winning a Natty at Florida than you Ole Miss.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is with this debate, could Lane decide that Ole Miss is at a point support-wise where it's close enough that he doesn't want to leave? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That could absolutely happen. But if Lane Kiffin currently was at Tulane or whatever, and both these jobs were open and they both wanted Lane Kiffin, if you don't think one of those offers is more appealing than the other, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Florida, between in-state recruiting, between the amount of resources, the athletic department revenue, it is a better job. It just might not be enough of a better job for Lane Kiffin to make that move right now in his life. But even if Lane says no, like, don't get that twisted. Like, Florida will still go out and at least of the jobs currently open at this exact moment as we record, go be able to make what I think is the strongest pitch to any potential candidate it would want.
Yeah, let's kind of wrap up what we're going to talk about here because we've got some interesting comments. If we're ranking the Florida job from the open jobs and include Auburn, LSU, not Texas, because I just don't think that's happening. What order would you rank them? All the open jobs, including the ones I mentioned, and maybe another if you have any.
You're saying if LSU and Auburn open, is that what you said?
Yes, and with Penn State and all the other jobs are currently open. And maybe there's one we're just forgetting that might open as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think Auburn
FSU.
FSU, yeah. I'd say FSU is at the bottom of those ones we're all talking about. I would say right now. I think Auburn's a better job than FSU. I think Auburn is also pretty well below LSU, Florida, and Penn State. I think those three kind of stand out above the rest at this moment in time. I mean, Florida and LSU are the top two. Which one do I think is better? Like, I think they're about the same. I think I would understand the argument for LSU being better because their ceiling has been higher recently, more recently than Florida's, but I think it's a pretty negligible difference.
So, are you saying? Wait, are you saying Florida is a better job?
I that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying I think you could probably pretty fairly argue that LSU is the slightly better job right now. I mean, again, it's just about like literally just in terms of results, who's proven more recently that you can get it done there. The answer is LSU.
Yes,
but I think there's advantages Florida has that LSU doesn't have too. So, I mean, this is a total cop-out answer, but I think it really just depends on like what you value. Because if you value recruiting base and just straight up, deep pockets, then it's Florida. I think if you value an administration that's more united and all in on winning, that's probably LSU.
Okay, and I mean, I think you also might mention the fan base. What's Brian Kelly's overall record at LSU?
34-14.
34-14. Look what Billy Napier was 23-22, right? Until he got fired.
23-22. 22-23.
Yeah, so I mean, now there's different scenarios. One was an up and comer, you give a bit more time to, and one was supposed to be a proven ready to go guy, but you probably have a little bit more leniency at Florida, and you could say that means Florida isn't as serious. I think there's a bunch of different things that go into that, but Florida's probably not as with LSU being more diehard. It's going to be quicker to give up on you, or eat you alive.
Like, I mean, I'm ready for all the talk about how toxic that fan base is, firing a coach who.
Brando already said that. Yeah. Brando already put his tweet out.
Oh, did Brando address it? I've seen what he said.
He said LSU fans have a right to be upset, but Brian Kelly shouldn't be fired.
No way, dude. No way he said that. That's crazy.
Now, he said Brian Kelly shouldn't, or I don't know if he said shouldn't be fired or won't be fired, but he said LSU fans have the right to be upset. At least I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
That's unbelievable, man. I mean, like, this is actually absurd. Billy Napier is like...
I blocked him, so...
Yeah. I mean, from like a expectations standpoint, program standpoint, Billy Napier is like maybe the worst hire in SEC history. I mean, you could probably say like Brian Harsin was worse and Chad Morris was worse, and there's like others you could name.
No,
too,
I mean, I don't think so.
I mean, well, the point I'm making is like Billy at the Florida job where no one has been this bad. I mean, no one has left with a losing record in 80 years.
I was thinking differently. I thought you meant like when I was thinking you meant like in hindsight, or like not including hindsight. Like when we hired him originally, he was a horrible hire. Not what he did over. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm saying I wasn't saying like Billy like the least qualified SEC hire. I'm like just straight up. Probably pound for pound, given the expectations, the worst tenure an SEC coach has had in modern history.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like with Chad Morris worse, yes, but
yeah,
Chad Morris is at a job where losing happens. Billy Napier has the worst record of any Florida coach in literally 80 years.
80 years. I mean, because that's also a point I was going to bring up when people were talking about the Florida, like, not necessarily being relevant in the past since our last natty. Like Billy Napier is the first coach to not win 10 plus games at least once at Florida since before Spurrier, like in over 40 years.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. And that was also when, I mean, keep in mind back then it was 11 game season. So winning 10 games was going 10-1 until like 2006 or something like that. So that's pretty unbelievable.
So, Dan, and I think people are going to look back at Dan Mullen and be like, oh, it was a bad hire. He was a failure, but Mullen was having great success until he quit.
I mean, Mullen was in line to be the guy. Like Mullen was under absolutely no pressure going into 2021. Like Mullen was in a fantastic spot.
No, I wouldn't say no pressure because he kept Todd Grantham. So we had a little bit of pressure.
I mean, sure, but I also think you can that creates pressure, but I think you can also justify doing that when ultimately, in spite of everything, you were still 6 points away from going to the playoff, which that team was. Well,
we wouldn't know because we lost the Mississippi Star. We were 6.
If we had won the SEC, if we had beat Alabama winning, if we had gone 11-2 and won the SEC, I think that team was probably
9-2.
Or whatever the COVID. I don't remember the COVID record. We had 2 losses and won the SEC and would have won the SEC.
Okay, but here's the problem. A&M with 1 loss who beat us was also above us.
I mean, I guess it's just like, do you think they were going to leave the SEC champion out of the playoff? I don't know. It's pointless to litigate this now.
An SEC team was getting in. Like, yeah. Okay, this kind of getting off topic here. Let's finish up this segment here. My last question. Where do you rank the Florida job in the country?
I think it's...
we already discussed Ohio State and Texas 1 and 2.
I think it's solidly top 10. I think it's probably fringe top 5, but probably outside the top 5. But I think it's easily top 10.
Okay. So let me put out some stuff here. I think 1's Ohio State. I think it's clearly Ohio State. Now, Texas probably has a bit more money. Ohio State has a bigger brand. But Ohio State also has an easier path to the playoff than an SEC school will.
Yeah, they do.
So, I think it's Ohio State. I think it's really not that close. But then after Texas, I think you go Alabama.
Yeah, probably.
I think Alabama's like LSU in the fact that football is all they care about.
Mm-hmm.
And, they have unlimited tradition of winning. They're going to have money like there's like a better LSU kind of in my opinion.
And they're because even LSU cares about baseball, cares about women's basketball, cares about softball and gymnastics. They're still spending NIL on those sports.
Yeah, Bama. I mean, Bama's still
they're good at those, but it's not. But they don't.
Good.
But baseball being good at Bama is not like a live or die thing. Like LSU fans legitimately would riot if their baseball program was mediocre. Whereas even I think Florida, even at Florida fans can and have lived with other programs not being great, but football is still king here in spite of the success in other sports.
Florida's success in football and, basketball even is kind of just on the fact that we're Florida. Like we're in we're arguably the most talent rich state. And we're in the center of it. We're the main brand of Florida. We're not Florida State. We're not Miami. We're Florida. So it's like, and it's like, it's expected. So if a coach starts being more mediocre, like Kevin O'Sullivan, I mean, in the last 3 years, we've twice made it to at least the semifinals of the College World Series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know a lot of people who want Kevin O'Sullivan fired. Yeah. Now, there's other things with him, obviously, what's going on right now, where he just got, where he's taking a break, whatever it was.
Yeah, leave of absence, yeah.
But I know there's other stuff with I'm not going to get into on this show with him so that people don't like. But, there are people who legitimately want him fired, even though the success he's had here is good at 99% of places. And we're not that diehard about baseball, so.
No.
But then after Alabama, he was at 3. Where do you go after that? Like Georgia, maybe?
Texas A&M? I mean, you got to put Georgia above right now. I don't know about A&M. I think Michigan you have to put above. I think Oregon you probably have to put above.
Yeah, Michigan. I don't know if I put Michigan above.
Dude, Michigan is loaded right now. They got as long as they've got the Oracle billionaire funding all their stuff. I think you got to put them up there. And they won a national title. 2
years
ago.
Okay. Oregon because you have all night they're above, and then I also think Georgia's interesting. From what I know, money wise, like Florida and Georgia are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like some that I know a lot of fans complain about, or they think we have lack of buy-in for the program. But from what I've heard, from what I've read, like our buy-in is very similar. Georgia's a little bit higher, but it's not like we can't beat Georgia because they're that much more bought in than the rest. Like we can't beat Georgia because we even had horrible coaching.
Yeah,
it's not because of buy-in.
Yeah, and I think to me, Georgia, like the caliber of job Georgia is very similar to like Alabama, the situation Alabama was in. Not the job itself, but like in terms of, Alabama, when Nick Saban got hired, was a good job, but it was like by no means at that point a consensus top 3 job.
They fell off a bit.
Yeah, they had fallen off a decent amount. Saban came in and doing what he did made it the job it is now. I think to a decent extent, that's what happened with Georgia. I mean, it is kind of insane. Even though Kirby Smart was a long coveted guy, like everyone had tried to hire him, they still hired a first-time head coach coordinator as their big hire to replace Mark Richt. So like they weren't ready to go out and just poach someone incredible. Like if Kirby were to go to the Falcons or whatever right now, they'd be positioned to, I think, make a much more splashy hire than Kirby was at the time, even though he was kind of the prodigal son. But yeah, so I think Kirby
Auburn had the chance to fire Kirby a year earlier.
Did they?
And yeah, they did. I remember I was hearing about that. Auburn had a very good chance to hire Kirby, but they passed it up.
They had Malzahn.
No, before they hired Malzahn, when they were going.
They hired Malzahn in like 2012.
That was 2013
or whatever. So, but that was still like 3 years before Kirby got hired. But yeah, Kirby was also a candidate at South Carolina when they hired Muschamp. Like Kirby had come up for a lot of these jobs.
Yeah. All right, and then so. Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon. You're saying Michigan. I'm not so bought in. Because I think Ohio State's, I think the recruiting profile, like the money matters, but I also think location matters. I don't know. I personally haven't seen it, but I'd probably put Florida above Michigan. I'd also slightly put LSU above us. I think I'd go.
I probably would too. I mean, I just said they're Oregon, a little better. So
I'd probably go LSU, then Florida, and then A&M. It's like they have the money. what's holding A&M back? It's the fact that they just haven't done it. I guess.
I mean, also like they do have the money, but also that money hasn't yielded a roster that's like blue chip ratio wise significantly more talented than Florida's. I mean, Texas's roster way more talented than Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe not way more, but it's more talented than Florida's. Oregon's roster more talented than Florida's. Ohio State, etc. More Alabama more talented than Florida's. A&M's is like they're real. I mean, that's a great football team. Don't get me wrong; they might win the national championship, but like they're not like coming out and landing definitive top 5 classes.
No.
So I don't really know what to make of that because they got the
Hayes
money.
Fawcett. Did you see what Hayes Fawcett posted last night?
I don't think so.
He posted that A&M is his pick to have the number 1 class in next year's recruiting cycle.
Okay. I mean, we'll see. And if they do,
which they've done before.
And I think Elko's a great coach. If they do that again with him, they're probably going to win a national title at some point in these next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Elko. I remember in the preseason when we were talking about A&M, I think you agreed with me. I was talking about A&M and Mike Elko, and I thought Mike Elko, I think he's a tremendous coach. I think he's a phenomenal coach, but things just didn't feel right because the defense was kind of weird. And it's in the offseason, it's not like they went and got some studs to help fix it. They kind of just kept developing their guys. Got a couple transfers, like TJ Searcy and Tyler Onyedem. But it's not like they went out and got guys that are going to make a big difference, especially with replacing the guys they lost on the already defense that really fumbled at the end of the year. And I mentioned how it kind of just fell off. Well, it doesn't feel off anymore. And now I think Elko's a great coach. Things don't feel off. They have the money. They have the location. Like, oh man, A&M's going to be a scary place for the Mike Elko tenure.
And I'll just say to bring it back to Florida, like if Florida hired, I mean, you got to remember what A&M's search looked like. They tried to hire Mark Stoops. That fell through because it got leaked to the public and then kind of collapsed from that point on. They turned to Elko as their second choice. And I mean, Elko had won like 8 or 9 games at Duke. But I mean, like, look, that's a hire. If Florida made a hire like that, we would all be like, what is going on here? Scott has lost control.
I loved Elko at Duke.
No, but I'm not Elko the person, but I'm saying like he's got probably doesn't have as good a resume as like Brent Key has. So the point I'm just making is I would just say that as a caution to people who are like, it's Lane or bust, all these other candidates suck. We don't know who's going to be good when they get that leap, that access to more resources. There's a lot of projection going on. Strickland said it himself. There's projection going on with Lane. So I just think that's a point of reminder that someone who hasn't been like winning 11 games every year and competing for national championships can still be an incredible hire, making a jump to a bigger job.
Yeah, we'll move on from there. We both probably put Florida around the 6 or 7-ish range there in the job market. So I wasn't meaning to do that, but that's kind of where we came to with it. So yeah, have fun with that. But no, we think Florida, and I know the buy-in's there right now, which could even boost our job up. We just have to see it.